Hello there everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new, welcome back if you are not. I am EDJ, and we're learning something new about Rome, and this time we're going to be talking about the Sibylline books. I'm going to assume this has to do with prophecy, because I was watching I, Claudius a while back, and there's kind of like this, subplot with, prophecies, and they're always talking about the Civilis, or something regarding prophecy. So I can only assume that the Sibylline books have to do with prophecy. That's probably a stretch, and I'm probably not correct, but that I'm gonna see if I'm right or not, or whatever. Let's just learn, right? If you want to watch the original video, the link's down in the description down below. Wait, I need to charge my phone. The charger's right here. I'm reaching for it. It helps to be tall and have long arms, you know. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's find out what the heck these books are about.
The Romans had this legend where an old woman came to the court of the last king of Rome. She offered to sell him 9 books at an outrageous price. The king refused. The next day, the woman returned with 6 books, offering them to the king for the same price. He again refused. On the 3rd day, she returned with only 3 books, still asking the same price. The king, now full of self-doubt and trepidation, gave in and paid full price for these 3 mysterious books. It turned out that this old woman was actually a Sibyl, a woman cursed with unnaturally long life, with the ability to see the future. The books, according to legend, were full of prophecies, foretelling the future of the Roman people. The books were immediately sealed away in the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus and guarded by a specialized order of priests. Some of the prophecies turned out to be quite mundane. For instance, one said that after a bad harvest, Rome simply had to set up orders of priests related to agriculture and fertility, and this would make the next year's harvest bountiful. This was a pretty common type of religious observance. For an ancient Mediterranean city-state, it's not really surprising. But on the other hand, there's stuff like this. After the Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE, the Romans consulted the Sibylline books, which said that in order to defeat their enemy, they had to take 2 Gauls and 2 Greeks and bury them alive right in the center of Rome. Let's be absolutely clear about this. The Romans hated human sacrifice.
Even though you could kind of interpret the Roman triumph as a human sacrifice, either way, they say they don't like human sacrifice. That's what really matters.
They heard stories about faraway barbarians who practiced it, and it shocked them to their core. Parents would tell their children that if they didn't behave, the Celts would come in the night and steal them away, presumably to sacrifice them to their strange foreign gods. It's a huge deal that the Sibylline books actually prescribed human sacrifice, and it's an even bigger deal that the Romans actually went through with it.
Oh dear.
Another significant
Again, we don't like human sacrifice. Those filthy barbarians over there, you know, committing the human sacrifice. They're not civilized like us. Proceeds to strangle random people during the triumph and bury people alive. Oh, Rome. Never change, Rome. Never change.
He came during Caesar's dictatorship. He was getting ready to go off and fight a war against the Parthians. Word started to get around that there was a Sibylline prophecy that said that only a king could defeat the Parthians. This was taken as definitive proof that Caesar had ambitions to crown himself king. This incident was the reason that Caesar had his man Mark Antony publicly offer him a crown during a festival, only to make a big show of refusing it. It was one big PR stunt. But the rumor persisted and played a big role in Caesar's eventual assassination. But my favorite Sibylline prophecy came up during the Second Punic War. A strange meteor shower was immediately followed by a failed harvest and a string of military defeats. Of course, the Sibylline books were consulted, and as a remedy, they said that a specific Greek god had to be adopted into the Roman pantheon. The Greeks called this god Cybele, although the Greeks themselves had imported it from Anatolia. Simple cultural appropriation wasn't enough, though. A quest was conceived to take Cybele's sacred stone from its home in Anatolia and to bring it to Rome. It was to be placed in the temple to the goddess Victoria, the goddess of victory. It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel. A 2-man team was sent, and after a long, dangerous journey, they entered into negotiations with the local king in Anatolia. If they were like most Roman negotiators, they probably paid absolutely no respect to the crown, and told him that the stone and the god belonged to Rome now. They might have even threatened him with war. Honestly, the Romans were either the best or the worst negotiators in human history. They kind of had their own way, but it worked. They returned to Rome with the stone and placed it in the temple to Victoria amid a huge public festival honoring their new goddess. The Romans called her Magna Mater, or the Great Mother. So looking back, do we think that the Romans actually believed in the Sibylline prophecies? Whenever events threatened the survival of Rome itself, the books were always consulted, and usually the prescription was to tweak the Roman constitution, or to adopt a new god, or celebrate a new festival. In other words, something relatively small, something symbolic, something that would calm the public. But then again, people must have had some faith in them, because when the books told them to abandon their cultural taboos and bury 4 people alive in the center of Rome, the entire city just went along with it.
Again, we don't like human sacrifice. Let's do it. No, I'm joking, by the way, guys. But I was correct, because I remember hearing about that in I, Claudius. They're always talking about the Sibylis, like, they say, you know, something, I don't know. The point is, yeah, I was right on the money. I was right, you know. Thank you, I, Claudius. Thank you, good television, for giving me insight so I can kind of impress people on YouTube. Kind of, not really, but, you know, at least so I know at least something. And yeah, that's insane, but very interesting. Again, plays into the superstitious element of Roman society, which even they had, you know. And overall, very interesting. So, man, I wonder what happened to those books. Like, I would like to know what the heck happened to those books. And I wish we had, like, again, like, maybe, like, the ability to read all the prophecies. It's kind of like Nostradamus, right? Like, you know, some of his prophecies, people would say, like, came true. It was like, I would like to see, how big were these books? How much sayings did they have? Is it lost to time? Probably. I don't know. But I would like to find out what the heck happened to these books. But, yeah, maybe some of you can enlighten me down below. With that said, and without any further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.